To begin, we will install assembly number 1, which is marked on the system drawings as Home Run Box. We are using Electrical Prefab Systems UUM bracket. When mounted direct to a stud, this bracket is UL listed for use without any far side box support. Unlike most competing brackets in the industry, this product may be used with any size stud, be it 2x4, 2x6, 2x8, and even for applications where there is no backing on the opposing wall. You will note that this assembly has no cable attached. Again, it is being used as a home run box, and other system cables will be attached to it, as we shall see later. Assembly number 2 is a direct mount, as the name indicates. This bracket may be mounted direct to a framing member, either to the left or to the right. Please note that this proprietary bracket has integral cable straps. These straps meet code requirements for securing MC cable, and no additional support is required within 12 inches of the junction box. There is an additional cable strap available on the bracket for when an additional cable is attached. We will see this application later. In this instance, we will install the bracket to the left. First, please note that we ran the MC cable to assembly number 1 as indicated on the label. Once the bracket is secured to the stud, please ensure that you raise the rear box support as I am demonstrating. This support is standard for a 2x4 stud. For a 2x6 stud, this breakaway accessory pops out and can be inserted as shown to extend the support. Be sure to secure the accessory with a Tek screw. If your application does not include a 2x4 or 2x6 stud wall, then use the flat straps provided to prevent the assembly from moving back in the frame wall. These straps are simply inserted in the inverted ears above and below the plaster ring. After the straps are inserted, be sure to add a Tek screw into each of the 4 corners where it meets the stud. Next is assembly number 3, a kickstand bracket. This too is a proprietary product available only from Electrical Prefab Systems. First, run the MC cable to assembly number 2, as indicated on the label. The electrical symbol on the label indicates that the wiring device installed in this assembly is a half switcher receptacle, and so 12-3 cable is attached. Once the cable is installed through the studs, the kickstand bracket is simply installed by first bending the bottom of the bracket back 90 degrees and then sliding this bottom plate under the stud track. Your installation is complete by ensuring the back support is properly positioned. Some contractors like the added assurance of adding a Tek screw through the bottom face of the bracket into the stud track. Again, if the stud is a 2x6, then use the pop-out extender. For any other size stud, or for when there is no opposing wall in the back of the stud, use a flat strap for support. This image shows the back of assembly number 1. As you can see, the rear of our junction boxes are open. This is the real power and advantage of Electrical Prefab Systems wiring solution. This patent-pending methodology ensures that wiring assemblies need only be assembled once and do not require disassembly by the installing contractor. By not having to take apart the assembly, not only is labor significantly reduced, but future troubleshooting is virtually eliminated as less stress is placed on wiring device conductors. Being able to readily see inside the box enables you, the installing contractor, to visually inspect final connections with relative ease and efficiency. Be sure to push strip conductors all the way in the Wago connectors, looking through the clear window on the connector to ensure complete insertion. Once all final connections are made, simply fold conductors neatly in the junction box. Lastly, attach the blank plate that is provided, and your installation is complete. Next, we have assembly number 4, an SB16 or 16-inch slider bracket. This too is a proprietary product engineered by Electrical Prefab Systems to solve real-world job site problems. This bracket opens and closes from 9 to 16 inches to adjust for varying stud center distances, and the junction boxes may then be positioned where needed at any location between studs. This bracket is also available as an SB24, which adjusts from 14.5 inches to 24 inches. As you can see from this example, multiple junction boxes may be mounted on the rails. The number of junction boxes limited only to stud spacing. The box bracket will mount either a 4-inch square or a 4 11 16-inch box. Another mounting bracket is available for multi-gang boxes, and we will talk more about those later. Installation is simple. Just attach each side to framing members with Tek screws. Adjust junction boxes to exact locations required, and then place one Tek screw through one corner of the box bracket into the slider bracket rail to lock the box positions in place. Of course, once all final connections are made at the rear of the junction box, simply install the blank plate to complete the assembly. Generally speaking, Electrical Prefab Systems not only provides branch wiring system assemblies, but assemblies for special systems as well. This assembly, number 5, is a typical red 4-inch square box and extension ring for a fire alarm device. Simply mount at the location and height indicated on the system drawing and label. As mentioned previously in this training video, the SB16 and SB24 slider brackets are also available with an adapter for multi-gang boxes. This assembly, number 6, is a 3-gang by 2 1/2-inch deep box with 3 single pole switches. This bracket will accept a 2, 3, 4, or 5-gang box for attachment to the slider bracket. This assembly is well suited to healthcare applications where both normal power and critical emergency power must be separated in the same junction box. As demonstrated here, a red device for emergency power is installed, and we have included a box divider to separate the systems as required by code. The MC cable on this assembly connects to assembly number 1, the home run box. This represents the normal power circuit. The emergency circuits would be connected to the box assembly via conduit. Again, attach the assembly to the studs, adjust the left to right positioning as required, and then place 1 Tek screw to lock in the exact position required. The rear of this box is also open, which greatly speeds installation and significantly reduces labor costs. Just make up the connections and attach a blank plate to complete the installation. This is assembly number 7. This is a common assembly type that we employ for wall sconces and other surface-mounted fixtures. This bracket type is the same as we use for device number 2, the direct mount. I am showing this bracket again simply to demonstrate how this bracket may be mounted at any location between 2 studs using 2 flat straps. This bracket type has many advantages over a traditional screw gun type bracket, primarily the fact that it incorporates the previously described MC straps. No additional strapping is required for at least 6 feet from this junction box, or not at all if the cable is installed horizontally through the framing members. Installation is simple. Just install as shown here, sliding the 2 flat straps under the inverted ears, and then attach the flat straps to the studs using Tek screws. Assembly number 8 is next. This again is Electrical Prefab Systems UUM bracket. Shown here, 2 UUM brackets are ganged together and are perfectly aligned due to alignment tabs and corresponding holes. Unlike any other bracket that we are aware of, the UUM may be continuously ganged either to the left or to the right. The only limitation in the number of gang brackets is the space available between studs. As described for assembly number 1, rear box support is not required for any stud size if the UUM is attached direct to a stud. But when ganged together, the bracket that is not directly mounted to the stud must have a support installed. We furnish these supports when the UUMs are ganged like this, and you will note that the support is scored and identified for varying stud sizes. Just break off the support at the appropriate score line. This image shows a correctly installed UUM with an additional UUM ganged next to it, shown with box support. Shown here is assembly number 9, a UUM ganged to an adjacent UUM bracket. This illustrates how UUMs may be ganged together while straddling a stud. Please notice how the alignment of these brackets are perfectly maintained. Just attach the 2 assemblies using 2 832 screws that we provide. Of course, on most projects there are recessed lighting, exhaust fans, 2x4 troffers, and other lighting types that have their own junction boxes. Also, there are instances in an electrical installation where a cable may be required for a traveler or to simply run a feed between a panel and a piece of equipment. In these instances, Electrical Prefab Systems will furnish what we term as a whip only, an MC cable with no attached assembly. Even though there is no assembly attached, a label is attached to the cable indicating the 2 connecting points. This whip only is a switch leg connecting a single pole switch at assembly number 6 and a light fixture, not shown here, identified as number 10. Simply install the cable and make the appropriate connections. As mentioned, we have provided the connectors with the accessory items included in the shipping carton. The last assembly I would like to talk about is number 11. This is Electrical Prefab Systems kickstand bracket, but shown here as an example of an EMT application. Ours is the only bracket in the industry that can support and secure both MC cable and EMT. This securing method is a UL-approved method of supporting EMT and meets all code requirements. Either half-inch or 3/4-inch EMT may be installed with this bracket. Just bend over the top plate, insert EMT, and using an EMT connector, connect to the junction box. No offset is required. For 3/4-inch EMT, remove the concentric knockout prior to installing the conduit. Shown here is an example of a correct installation. Please note that EMT may also be used with our direct mount bracket, mounted direct to the stud as shown with assembly number 2, or when mounted between studs as previously demonstrated for assembly number 7. I would be remiss if I did not point out that the mounting height of the kickstand bracket may be field adjusted. While we engineer and fabricate the mounting height in accordance with project requirements, a design change may mandate a change in mounting height. Just remove the 4 screws that attach the direct mount bracket to the kickstand, reposition, and reattach the direct mount to the kickstand. A junction box may be installed from 7 inches on center from finished floor to as much as 18 inches from finished floor in 1-inch increments. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch our installation video. If our recommended procedures and suggestions are followed, I am certain that you will come to regard electrical prefab systems, products and systems as the most productive and labor-saving solutions in the industry. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to contact the project engineer that has single source responsibility for your project. Of course, if there is anything at all that I can help you with, or if you have suggestions for product improvements, then I encourage you to call me direct. I am always available to speak to our clients. Please visit our website, EPSprefab.com, for company news and to see all of our product offerings. Again, thank you for your time and attention.